Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Enlightening Your Way. I'm your host, Nancy Lombardo, and we are airing on the Lily Dell official Facebook page and YouTube channel. I'm a leaseholder here in Lilydale and the president of the Church of the Living Spirit, which is an independent spiritualist church on the grounds. I'm a military veteran, retired police detective, fitness and yoga instructor, and wellness is my passion. This show is a combination of my many life experiences and features various topics and guests to help enrich one's mind, body, and soul on your pathway to healthy living. My website, Wellness with Nancy Lombardo, where my motto is protecting and serving your well-being. And tonight I have an extra special guest. Not only do I get to speak with an incredible, talented artist, but I get to share someone who shares my heart space, and she is my niece, Zuri Appleby. Zuri is a professional bassist, vocalist, model, educator whose journey in music began at just 5 years old singing in church choir. By her teenage years, she was already performing throughout Western New York and later selected to join the U.S. Marine Corps band, becoming the first and only female bassist of color in its history. After serving 4 years on active duty, Zuri continued to build a dynamic career performing with nationally and internationally recognized artists, including Lizzo, Nick Jonas, and Adam Lambert. She has appeared on major stages and television platforms, toured internationally, and has been recognized with honors such as Best Jazz Bassist in the City of Buffalo and the Changemakers 30 Under 30 Award. Zuri is also deeply passionate and about education and creative expression, serving as a teacher, artist, speaker, and mentor. And she has recently released There's No Time for Now, an original solo-based music for the mind, body, and breath, calming, spacious soundscapes created for meditation, yoga, breathwork, and moments of quiet. And today her work beautifully bridges artistry and intention, creating space not only for music, but for presence, healing, and connection. And you can find everything out about Zuri at zuriappleby.com. And I love her YouTube channel, At Her Highness of Lowness. Perfect. And so creative a title. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to hear about all of your accolades, well, some of your accolades, and to be doing this with you. Yes, thank you for having me.
We'll explain to everybody why you're in California right now, and we're trying to get you on, and you were having massive problems, and you so graciously ran down to the coffee shop where there's Wi-Fi, and we got you hooked up. So if anybody's wondering where she's at, that's where she's at.
You might hear some sounds of the city, but we're here.
We're here, and I so appreciate you being here. So when I was reading your bio, because people may not know, I left town really early at 17 also, and left, and you were here, and I was so proud of you when you joined the Marine Corps. I was so very proud because I know what a difficult task that is to get into the band for sure. But I never realized that you were the first female bassist of color, and I was wondering what that felt like for you at the time.
Yeah, it was just interesting because I was the youngest Marine, first, and then also the first woman bassist, and then it was like, oh well, if I'm the first woman, that means I'm the first woman of color. So right. It was just but I also think it's just a testament to the timing of how things have allowed for a different variety of humans to exist in certain places. So I can only take so much credit. I just happened to be in the number of when those type of things started having firsts, I guess. So but it's still pretty cool.
You can take the credit of being very talented because they're very picky in who they accept into that band for sure.
I'll take it. Yeah, I did work hard for the audition and did excel with honors. But even before I got in, which allowed me to pick my duty station. So I will take some credit for that. My parents too.
So when I was, there's so much. I was like, where do I even start with you? Because you have so much. You've been through so much in your young life. So how would you further describe yourself in your journey in your own words to people watching tonight?
I would say, sorry, I'm adjusting the volume so you don't hear the street. I would say that I'm definitely an adventurer, as you acknowledged earlier. I definitely like to put myself up for a challenge. I like to experience things new. I don't necessarily like to rest on my laurels, as they say. So I'm definitely forward seeking or expanding, and also currently more as I continue to grow in the process of learning how to look at things with more loving eyes, to definitely include myself and the accomplishments that have happened, and even the grace which allowed such things, and just just look at it all just as a beautiful journey. So, but I'm definitely a journeyer, a seeker. I would say I'm like quality, high standard of things. I'm one that likes to upkeep standards, and be joyful as much as possible, but also be authentic and not be afraid of dynamics. So a creative person in general, I'm sure that can relate.
Yeah, and I love that you try to be authentic, because a lot of people, it's a hard thing for some people, actuality, for sure. I don't know if you remember that I played string bass in fourth grade, and when I went through high school with string bass, and but I was wondering, why was bass your choice?
I did not know that. That's so cool. Okay, awesome. I would say that bass chose me, to be honest. I had practiced guitar, a few other instruments, French horn, violin. Actually, I tried piano. And I just didn't see the progression or the connection with the instrument that I felt when I picked up bass. My dad had like a music camp in his basement over the summer for like different students that wanted to come through, like I guess like a kids band camp, just an hour or whatever, playing blues and stuff. And there was naturally like a lot of guitar players, but there weren't any bass players. So he asked me to like, he's like, these notes. Why don't you? It was just a blues, like play, put your finger here, here, here. And long story short, I just immediately fell in love. I was like, this feels way more like in alignment with how my hands are, etc. So I think it chose me. The rest is history. I just stuck with it.
Were you self-taught?
Yes and no. I definitely had the gift of my dad be able to show me how to like use my hands and scales and stuff like that. And I also went to a performing arts high school, as well as being in choir when I was young, learning harmonies, learning song structure and stuff like that. So, but I did, put in the work, the time myself to explore things. So I would say yes and no.
Well, we both come from musical families, don't we? For sure.
Yes.
And your father's side, for sure. What do you feel has helped shape you the most?
I think just being like submerged in it right away, like never looking at it as something that was like not a part of life. I don't know life without music. And so it's just something that is just with me always. So I just see it as a part of life.
I mean, you were out there working hard. I mean, I was always watching you, and you were working hard. When was the moment you feel like this is really it? This is really happening for me?
Uh, I guess the Nick Jonas experience, and maybe just before that, I was really like really gigging all the time, almost up to like 5 days a week in Buffalo after like having came back from being in the military and missing like a lot of those earlier college years of gigging around. So it was definitely like a zero to acceleration type experience of like getting out there gigging and stuff. So, and then I realized I was like, wow, I'm doing this. And then I got the message randomly to do the Nick Jonas thing. I was like, is this real? So I guess at that point, it's kind of sunk in.
That was a really big deal, for sure. Really big deal. I'm so proud of you, for sure.
Thanks.
And you've traveled now all over the world, for sure, and quite often too. What place do you feel resonates with you the most, not as a musician, but as a person?
I would say I really love New Zealand and Australia and that realm. It was just like so beautiful. The water looked like it shined differently. The sun shined differently over there. Like the air looked clearer over there. Like the nature experience was just everywhere. So, and not so much of the culture, but they did have good food in Australia, I would say. But aside from that, like it was really just how I felt in the actual nature and the actual space, and that was what I really loved.
Yeah, I guess was going to go just a tad deeper and ask you if there was some place that resonated with you more spiritually, on a spiritual level.
Mm, it's a hard question to answer because I'm always in a different space each place I travel. So I think what sinks in or what resonates sometimes is influenced by that. But I try to have a connection with each place I go. Um, I would say when we went to Japan, like, and we performed in a forest, that was a pretty surreal experience because like you can just really feel like you're a part of putting your energy like out into nature, and that it's really directly like, watching you. Like, the trees are like my audience now, as well as these people on the stage, so, or on the ground. So maybe that experience, also driving out there just looked like I was in a whole new world, as well as being like in some ancient land, just driving through all the mountains and stuff. It was like out in Fuji Rock. So maybe that.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know if
mean,
that helps.
no, nature's so powerful, and you're right. I mean, the trees feel, they hear, they sense, and so I can imagine that'd be really powerful playing in that.
Hmm.
That's actually really beautiful. Um, it's got to be so rigorous on you, and I'm all about health and wellness. So, how have you managed to keep your physical and mental health intact through all this?
Oh, it's a continual commitment, it's an everyday commitment, and it's also like understanding longer span of seasons now. Like the more life I live, the longer I can experience a season, and also know that like, oh, that's how long that season is. I don't have to like try to maintain what I maintained yesterday tomorrow all the time. Like there's a bigger ebb and flow to it. And so yeah, I've just learned to stay consistent and committed, even if commitment looks like a longer spread. Like just knowing that I am coming back to it, and also knowing that there's certain things I just don't do now. um, that just keeps it easy, and also has just also cut a lot of those cravings out. So I think being intentional in some things, and then also once I feel like I was intentional enough, not being so rigid that I, um, feel like I'm living in some type of cage to mount, so it affects your mental health at that point. So, and also knowing that, like I said, like it's the ebb and flow. So just because you are feeling like you're having a bad day or something like that doesn't necessarily mean you're even having a bad day, or might not even mean that that emotion or feeling is yours. Like, just having the space to be able to observe stuff and just let it be without attaching an identity or commitment to maintaining it, I guess.
Yeah, because when you're in those kind of crowds and atmospheres, I can't imagine taking all that on. I mean, you probably have to keep it at bay because that's a lot of energy coming at you.
Yeah, I definitely have come more to myself since I've been in LA, because I feel like I'm, in those bigger spaces when I am out. Maybe it's also aging thing, but it is a lot, and I definitely take my space to recharge when I can, and just know that I can push through when I know it's just a season of busyness at the time.
I was watching a lot of the things you were writing, and they felt to me like it was getting deeper and deeper, and you were going internally and really understanding things on a deeper level. So I was so impressed when you came out with "There's Time for Now." It seemed like it was a very fitting time for you, the right moment for you. I love, love, love the title. Would you like to tell me how you come up with that title?
Yeah, I had been contemplating a few different things, and I don't know, with the creative process, I'm learning better to just like grasp stuff, go with your first mind. And so when that came to me, I said it out loud a few times. It really resonated, and I also felt like that was fitting for the experience that and I had when I was creating the music, just like really being present and like not worrying about crazy schedule or worrying about this or that. So, if there's time for everything else, like there could be time for now too. So
Yeah,
that's the
and
title.
it felt very different for you, but it felt beautiful too. Um, and it is just you on the bass, correct?
Yep, just bass.
And how did you say you came to create this?
It was definitely a long, long journey, like several years. Like I didn't ever have the vision of it being what it came out to be when I created the initial ideas. Um, Almost all of them, minus one, came from a variety of voice memos that I had taken over the years. When inspiration would strike, and I would, was just trying to get better. Like I said, just catching the idea as it came, and so I just prop the phone up, just take it raw, just so at least I had the idea there. And so where I was at for each of those different places, because they were over a course of a variety of time. But um, when I was listening back, I considered just letting them be just as the voice memo, just totally vulnerable. But then I just was like, well, let me just, you know, just try. If I don't like it, I'll just put it out as is. But let me just see if there's anything else that I might feel. So I just started playing with it, and so each kind of had its own developmental journey, but they were similar. It was, I was just willing to let them be as vulnerable as they were, but also was open to adding to it. I didn't do it to any metronome, or I didn't put it into a, program first or a dog first. I just, like I said, just propped up the bass or put up the phone and just voice memoed it, and then literally use those voice memos to layer outside of that with some effects and stuff.
Yeah, I love that. And I thought you told me you almost felt like you were channeling it from another source.
I don't know if it's another source, but you know what I mean. But it was definitely a expanded source, and I felt, and the reason I said that is because I mean I was literally hearing it in real time, like this. Similarly, how people, I guess, when they're channeling maybe a spirit or an ancestor or whatever the case may be, they're like hearing it and saying it and trying to interpret it in real time. And that was how I was hearing it in my head. Like I didn't hear this melody and I tried to like play it back. I was like hearing it and like, oh, play this note next, play this rhythm next, do this path next. And so it felt like it was I wasn't necessarily thinking, oh, let me create a melody in 6/8 with, you know what I'm saying? So it felt much more like, to me, like channeling. And I think creatives in their purest form on multiple mediums, no pun intended, are channeling.
Well, no, you're exactly right. I mean, that's how mediums work. I mean, they hear it, they see it, they feel it. It comes, and you have to trust what you feel and hear and see, and it comes out. It just comes out. So you very much work like that for sure. And that's exactly how it is. So can we explain to people exactly what this is? Because many of our viewers, I'm sure, mediums almost meditate daily for sure. And it's a healthy lifestyle, something to incorporate into your life for sure.
I would say for me, because I believe in the transference of energy, I feel like because of the state I was in when I was creating it, it's also sharing that energy and feeling to the listener, because I was really in a present place. I was really hearing melodies and tonalities that really I weren't considering any music theory or anything like that. It was really just, like I said, feeling like it was a channeling experience of sounds and tones that I felt had an effect on my body as I was doing it. So that's one that I feel that it will help actually soothe the listener, just for the fact of the energy transference of where I was at, regardless of the tones. Second, it's not really in time. It's very free. It's not overly ambiguous where you feel like you're swimming indefinitely, but it is open enough that it allows your imagination to feel like it's within a safe space, as well as there's freedom to explore, even if it's with where your thoughts might go, or any melodies you might hear as you're like maybe co-creating in your mind, or maybe even vocalizing certain tones might be allowing for some healing frequencies within your body, since I believe in the healing power of your own voice. It goes much deeper than Om.
Absolutely.
And it's also something that I think hits differently when you're the one that's emitting it to your own body. So I believe that it's beneficial to the listener in that way. That was a big part of it, was the fact that there's such openness in the melodies, as well as if there even is a melody or not, as well as in the timing of things, that allows the listener to either feel like they're free to explore sonically in their mind, as well as there's like still a consistent loop of sorts that gives you some type of stabilizing presence.
Kind of like a mantra.
Yes, exactly. Kind of like a sonic mantra.
And there's California.
Forgive me. Yeah, and that's one thing I would say. There was even experience I had listening to one of the songs, because I was like, let me just give this a try for myself, like as a listener, and literally went into a really deep. I'm no specialist, but it felt from what I've studied like some type of kundalini like activation of sorts,
Mhm.
even from the way that my body just was like, which I've learned through yoga to like trust my body's movements and allow to feel like if I find myself in this pose, like I literally find myself in certain positions as a result of uh, trusting my body and releasing stress. And I found that was happening as I was listening to the song. And I've heard some feedbacks from some other people of just different ways it's just soothed them. I also tuned the music to 432 hertz, which is supposed to be actually in alignment with our bodies as well as the Earth's actual
Not supposed to be.
frequency, as opposed to 440, which was, not to give a whole history story, but was changed um, back in the banking times, actually. One of the big bankers, they changed it, whatever. They did all these type of changes at the time, and they changed it to 440, which essentially is higher pitched and kind of puts you more on edge and just not at ease. And so I intentionally tuned it to 432. So
I love
that's
that.
my long spiel of all the reasons I think it might be beneficial.
No, I mean, when I listened to it, it was so unique. And, I listened to a lot of meditative music for sure, but there's something about the richness of it and the deepness of it. And I didn't know you had it at the megahertz, sorry, because it really resonated. It was powerful. It resonated. It was relaxing. It takes you to a different place and space. So it does all the things for sure in a very different and unique way. Because
Right.
I told you, I'd never heard of just a bass meditation. Never.
Yeah, I don't know if there is one. I can't be sure. And that you brought a good point, because that's something else. The bass frequencies are a different type of healing frequency because it's such big frequencies and so warm and rich. So, and they go to a lower space. So, yeah, that's another reason right there.
Yeah, right, for sure. So, you've accomplished so much. What does grounding feel like to you nowadays? How do you ground yourself in all that you do?
First step is, being present, recognizing that you need to ground or that you want to ground or the desire, the attention to be grounded. Or, if you're late to the party, then you experience that you don't feel grounded, which reminds you that you want to feel grounded. Um, but now I've grown to come to places where, okay, and this is a time I need to kind of reground, like, after travel or before a performance or, when I come home or, et cetera, before I'm experiencing different interactions or coming from different interactions. But I feel that it's one, first being present, two, feeling into yourself, literally. I mean, all of these things aren't like woo-woo terms. It's like very literal, like feeling your chest, feeling your heart beating, feeling that you have arms, feeling that you have legs, just
Yeah,
grounding, coming back into the body, and then feeling the weight of your body, feeling what it feels like to relax, feeling what that relaxation, um, reminds your body to do to straighten up, or it helps you to feel what's conky or whatever imbalanced, and just continuing to follow that balance of what's uncomfortable and what's comfortable, but starting with that piece first is what I find is grounding, like finding where that softness is, and then you breathe into that as you feel it expand. You might usually at the top of the breath you can feel what's like the tightest, and then you can try to like intentionally tell yourself to like be soft there or to like let it go, and then you feel yourself move, and then try to be intentional again by the time you get to that next top of that breath. And just continuing to following your bliss inside, like following that softness inside, and using
yeah.
your tension as a reminder of how to release and align. So that's grounding to me. Just being those breaths, getting into my body, and even within that, knowing that I'm, divinely guided. Knowing, like, just doing that as a reminder to me that I'm safe. Like I wouldn't be able to feel into my body and sit there if I wasn't in a safe environment. Like I'm safe. I'm fed. I have what I need. So like at the same time, I'm also giving myself like positive reminders of how I'm even there. So giving gratitude for the fact that I can even be in that position and things like that. To me, that's grounding for me.
No, that's Yeah, it's grounding for everybody. I think that's really good advice for sure. Breath will take you many places and do a lot for you. So that's great advice. So for the people that have listened to your There's Time for Now, what would you hope that their takeaway would be?
I would hope that it would be a doorway for them to experience into themselves and into the peace that's within them already and available to them at all times. I really hope for the listener to feel an opportunity to be present with themselves and with, you know, the present moment that's blessing them at that time and keeping them, comfortable and soft and safe for them to sit there and enjoy a beautiful work of music.
Yeah, I think they will. They take the time to download it. I really do, because I said it's such a beautiful work of art for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, it really is. So, what do you feel has been the most one of your most important lessons on your spiritual journey in life?
In life.
In life, you've seen the life. You've seen such a life.
uh, I think it's kind of similar to what I started out by saying of learning to really look at things with more loving eyes and more connected eyes, um, and really learning how to find peace and knowing that, like, as crazy as it might seem, like energy really isn't destructible. So there's really no fear in dying. I mean, this, you could fear pain, but I mean, even those things have an end. So I think it's just like looking at things from more positive and loving eyes and seeing that my different beliefs change, which kind of helped me to do that. I have a number of different beliefs that have evolved over the years. So I think, yeah, the biggest lesson I've learned is like life really does love you, and it'll wait on you to learn to love yourself as long as it takes. But I really do, not to sound corny, believe that that is the ultimate lesson and the hardest lesson to really love.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
It almost feels like to me that going back to the 5-year-old that was singing in the choir, looked at with love, it almost feels like you've made a full circle back to your beginnings of love.
That's a beautiful way to look at it. I feel that way too. I hadn't thought of that, but yeah, music has been the thing that literally created our family in so many ways, and that bonded our families outside of the people in it, and it does that worldwide, and also helps you to feel connected with yourself while you're playing the instrument, and connected with some type of greater energy while you're playing. So yeah, that's very true.
I mean, you haven't just connected, like you said, Buffalo loves you, that's for sure. And I
Love
love
them.
many places, but you've been around the world, and I'm sure the one thing you have seen and is music connects us all, no matter race, gender, creed, anything. Music connects us.
It truly does. I
And
mean,
this,
we're connected regardless, but it helps connect to the loving part, I guess, a little bit better.
right? That's the truth. That's the truth. So, Zuri, would you like to remind everybody how they can find you and download a copy of your This Is Now?
So, yes, so you can find the music There's Time for Now on my website exclusively at the moment, at zuriappleby.com, zuriappleby.com. Just go to the music link on the page and it'll bring you right to the EP. You can download it. It'll download to you in a zip file. So just make sure that you're doing it from your desktop and or have access to opening a zip file from your phone. You only get one download link. That was my little middle finger to the man and all the ways that they stream and take away all these, monies from the creative, as well as, just throwing your music out to people that may or may not have any interest. So just trying to funnel it to where people care. So that's where you'll find it for now. And also I'm on Instagram at Zuri Elise _ZURIELISE. And Facebook as well at Zuri, ZURI. And those are the main places you can find me. YouTube, I have a YouTube channel, as Nancy said, at Her Highness of Lowness. And yeah, that was a friend's name, so I had to shout out to Mike DeSanto for that creative name. I had to run with it. So
I mean, I just love it. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. And one day, hopefully, you'll make your way to Lilydale.
I hope so. I would love that. Yes.
I know you would. You'd love it here. Man, you go in our old girl force and play that bass. You'd be connected instantly, I'm sure of it.
That sounds like a dream. Got to make that happen.
Well, thank you so much, Zuri, for taking the time, for walking down to the coffee shop, for getting on the Wi-Fi. And I love it. I love it, and you and your environment. And I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me.
I pardon that, blessed. I really appreciate you having me. Thank you for taking the time and your patience and me working out the kinks, and also taking interest in my music. And
Of course.
that was really, really humbling and flattering. I didn't expect you to have the response to it. So thank you so much for feeling the vibes.
I do that. And thank you all for joining us. I'll be back in 2 weeks for another episode of Enlightening Your Way. Make sure and check back for everything going on in Lilydale on this Facebook page. This is their official Facebook page. Thank you again, Zuri. Find me on Instagram, nancy.k.lombardo, where my motto is protecting and serving your well-being. My name is Nancy Lombardo, and I thank you all. Good evening. Thank you, Zuri.
Thank you.